Greetings, Guardians. The Hijabi Gamer here. And how many of you remember the game Resistance: Fall of Man? It's a first-person shooter that released on the PlayStation 3, I believe, in 2006. I didn't play it at launch, but I played it a few years later. It's an awesome game. It's actually a trilogy, and it's one of those series that people often ask for when Sony talks remasters. I mean, seriously, they keep remastering PlayStation 4 games, and good PlayStation 4 games that don't need remasters instead of going back to their PlayStation 3 library. This is an amazing series, and I would love to play it again, but I sold my PlayStation 3. I'm bringing up this game because it actually has something in common with Assassin's Creed Shadows. You know, that upcoming Assassin's Creed game that seems to attract controversy at an impressive rate. Honestly, at this point, it blows my mind how so much is going wrong around this game. There's no way this is coincidental. Anyway, the latest controversies are, one, the pre-order numbers, which are either amazing or terrible, depending on who you listen to. Honestly, I don't trust them. I'm going with terrible, but hey, I'm not interested in the game. I'm more interested in Yasuke Simulator, so it doesn't matter to me. The other controversy is around the shrines in the game. Now, I think it's pretty obvious, but I'm not Japanese, and I know very little about Japanese religion. My apologies. But I know people are very unhappy that you can apparently destroy a divine mirror in a shrine, and that you could basically destroy shrines. And to the point where, the Association of Japanese Shrines are stepping in. People are very unhappy, all right? So I thought it reminded me of this game. People are talking about it. They're talking about old Assassin's Creed games, but no one has mentioned Resistance: Fall of Man because they had the exact same issue. So, controversy over the usage of Manchester Cathedral in Resistance: Fall of Man. However, before I go into this, let me just mention my view on the whole thing, because another thing that often comes up when people talk about this controversy is the fact that they wouldn't dare do this to a mosque. All right? I have to agree. I can't deny, especially when it comes to Christianity. Look, I don't live under a rock, okay? Especially when it comes to Christianity, you're allowed to shit all over Christianity and get away with it. Not going to deny it. When it comes to Islam, they won't touch it. Which, honestly, this is going to come as a surprise. It's kind of disappointing in the sense that I'd love to see more Muslim buildings in video games. I mean, the key thing to keep in mind is it's a video game. So if you were to be like, hey, we're coming out with Fallout Saudi Arabia, and you get to go to Mecca and shoot mutants and turn it into a player base, and there's skeletons all over the place. Honestly, that'd be pretty sweet. I mean, that would be awesome. Hell, Dome with a Rock, a couple of mosques I see in Egypt. I think it would be really sweet, Destiny to Cairo. That is just me. Again, it's a video game, and mosques are just, at the end of the day, buildings, okay? One of the big differences I have noticed between Islam and a lot of other religions is we really don't have, holy relics. When you build a mosque, you don't have to bless it or any of that. I understand you have to do in Christianity. You'd be surprised the buildings that are turned into mosques. One of the ones we go to right now used to be a church, and it definitely shows. They still use some of the pews for the elderly who can't stand while praying. It obviously used to be a church, but it's now being used as a mosque. The mosque, my favorite mosque, used to be a Jewish building, and it's awesome. I think it's by far one of my favorites. And I mean, that one doesn't show as much, but the church one definitely does. The only thing I think that would come close is the Quran, which you're supposed to treat with respect. You can't, if you have it on the shelf, you can't put other books on top of it. You can't throw it on the floor. And the funny thing is, you have all these people who keep coming out making videos like, hey, look at me, I'm burning the Quran. Screw you, Muslims. And the funny thing is, look, if you have a Quran that has become so damaged from use, or let's say there's a flood and it was water damaged, the respectful way to discard of a worn out Quran is to burn it. So, okay. You do you, Habibi. If it makes you feel better, go right ahead. I don't care. I've come to realize at this point that there's a lot of people who are just going to hate me regardless, and you're not going to make everybody happy, regardless if you're Muslim, Christian, Jewish, whatever. So don't even try. People are going to hate you regardless. So you want to burn it? It's not going to hurt me, okay? Go ahead. Not my problem. But I think that's the closest thing that we have that's like a religious item. There's some mosques that are more important than others. But again, it's a video game. Like I said, the Kaaba is probably the most holiest site for us. And like I said, Fallout Saudi Arabia would be awesome. I think the thing that I draw the line at is people. So it's one thing, and it depends on the person, all right? It's one thing if it were like you find the grave of George Washington, right? And you dig him up, and he comes back as a zombie, and he joins your side, and you're fighting the zombie apocalypse, and George Washington is on your side. That would be pretty sweet, okay? It's another thing if you were to go after the prophets, which billions of people have a high level of reverence for, extremely important to a lot of people. One of the things that people often get wrong about Muslims is they think we only care about the Prophet Muhammad and depicting him. Yeah, I don't like it if you draw a picture of the Prophet Muhammad. I don't want to see it. I'm not going to look it up. I don't want to see it. You want to do it, go right ahead. Just don't show it to me, okay? I don't want to see it. But the thing is, it isn't just the Prophet Muhammad. It's all of the prophets, okay? We don't like Jesus, Moses, Noah, you name it. If you go into a mosque, you'll notice there's an absence of pictures of people. Technically, you're not even supposed to put just people in general on your walls. A very religious Muslim household isn't going to have pictures of people on the walls because images, once you create images, it could lead to idolatry, all right? Muslims don't worship Muhammad, all right? He's very important. He's a very important prophet, but he's not God to us. In fact, when he died, the people who were following him were like, well, what's going to happen to the religion now? And I believe it was Abu Bakr. I know there's Muslims who follow me. Comment down below. I believe it was Abu Bakr who came forward and said, look, if you worship Muhammad, he's a man, he has died, all right? But if you worship God, God is eternal, the one God. God is eternal, God does not die, all right? So when it comes down to it, we don't like depictions of anybody because it can lead to idolatry. One of the biggest insults you could call a Muslim is a Muhammadan because it implies we worship him. We do not worship him. We worship God. He's a messenger of God. We also have a high level of respect for Jesus, which is why I understand why the Christians are very angry about the whole Jesus Christ superstar and that black queer woman who thinks it's amazing that she gets to be Jesus in this. No, Habibti, no. But we tend to be, I guess, a bit more lenient when it comes to the other prophets because we share them with everybody else. So, if a Christian wants to draw a picture of Jesus, go right ahead. It makes me cringe on the inside. I don't want it. We don't even know what he looks like. I mean, we can have a rough idea, but I don't like it. But if you want to do it, go ahead. So I think I would have a problem if you were to make Fallout Saudi Arabia and you could desecrate the grave of the prophet, okay? You're desecrating a person's grave, which is why, like I said, I'm not going to make any judgment about the Japanese. I'm just giving you my view on it. Me as a Muslim, like I said, I would love to see Mecca in Fallout. That's me. Regarding the controversy over the usage of the Manchester Cathedral. You see, a lot of people are acting like this is like recent in the sense that it was an Assassin's Creed. No one has mentioned this. Let me just put it this way. No one has mentioned this. The controversy over the usage of Manchester Cathedral in Resistance Fall of Man. So this happened, I believe, in 2007. So, it was released on March 23rd, 2007 in the United Kingdom. It was released in 2006 in the United States. And the Church of England was very unhappy with the use of images of the cathedral sparked considerable controversy with the leaders of the Church of England, which claimed its depiction to be desecration and copyright infringement, and that it was inappropriate of Sony to allow players to shoot guns in a city with a gun problem. They had made several legal threats against Sony, including an apology, a substantial donation, complete withdrawal of the game, or modifying the segment featuring the interior of the cathedral, and financial support of Manchester groups trying to reduce gun crime in the city. Whatever. So in response, Sony countered that the game took place in an alternate fictional universe and that the building was never intended to depict the cathedral. Although the copyright concerns were found to be without merit, yeah, it's a public building. That was the main thing. It was just a public building, so you can't. Sony offered a formal apology to the Church of England and leaders of the cathedral in July of 2007, stating that they did not intend to cause offense. What's interesting about this whole thing is that the controversy caused a greater awareness of the game in the UK, and so sales rose. But also, it caused increased awareness of the cathedral, which, like I said over here, due to the lack of valid legal argument, the complaint was ultimately dropped, and the cathedral saw a blessing in disguise increase in visitor numbers due to the controversy. So it actually helped the cathedral in the long run because more people visited it. So this whole thing isn't actually new. I don't know the laws in Japan. I don't know how this will pan out, especially since we're now in a different atmosphere. Sony did apologize, but they never took it out of the game. In fact, I have here gameplay footage that I will show you. It's not my gameplay footage. So a part of me is like, I don't know if anything will really come of it because, again, the Church of England was very unhappy, tried to raise legal arguments, and nothing came of it other than an apology. I'm trying to remember my own playing of it because I do remember playing the game and being in the cathedral, but it never really stood out to me because it's not the first time you get to play a video game where you get to go inside a church. I believe there's a church at the beginning of Fallout 4 because I remember hiding from the Deathclaw inside a church and there were pews. So this is played by, this is a guy with 107k subscribers, Blayan. It's his gameplay of it. You can see it's a cathedral. Just wanted to bring, let people know about this because people haven't really mentioned it. Anyway, let's move a little forward. See, you can see, I've never been to this cathedral, but they mentioned that the cathedral was turned into a hospital, I believe. You can see the pews and the hospital beds. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that because no one else is talking about this. They're all bringing up previous Assassin's Creed controversies, but they're never bringing this one up, which is actually more similar to what's going on than beating up the Pope. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and hope to see you at the tower.